Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Now today I'm going to be talking about the Darlington summer weekend for Cubs and Xfinity. But before we get into that, let's talk about Kansas. This is the final race for the Truck Series playoffs and the second race for the Cup Series playoffs. And I think the penultimate race, if I remember correctly, for the Xfinity Series regular season. So a lot of high stakes, I'll say, for this race at Kansas. So on Friday, September 9th, it will be mainly trucks and Xfinity. So practice for the truck series will start on 3 p.m. Qualified will start at 3:30 p.m. Both of them will be on FS2, not FS1, which is pretty interesting. The Xfinity Series practice and qualifying, they'll both be on USA. Practice will start at 5:05 p.m. Eastern Time, while qualifying will start at 5:35 p.m. Eastern Time. And then finally, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time will be the Truck Series race for the running of the Kansas Lottery 200. That'll be on FS1, MRN, and Sirius XM. On Saturday, it is mainly ARCA Menard Series and the Cup Series. So the ARCA Menard Series practice and qualifying will not be on TV. Practice will start at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, and the qualifying for the ARCA Menard Series will start at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. The Cup Series practice and qualifying, they'll both be streamed on Peacock. Practice for the Cup Series will start at 12:05 p.m. Eastern Time, while qualifying will start at 12:50 p.m. Eastern Time. Then at 3 p.m. Eastern Time will be the Xfinity Series race for the running of the Kansas Lottery 300. That'll be on USA, MRN, and Sirius XM. And then late at 7 p.m. Eastern Time will be the ARCA Menard Series race for the running of the Kansas Lottery 150. See a bit of a trend here with all the sponsors. You know, the sponsor race, basically, it is Kansas. It is a Kansas Lottery race, basically. That'll be on, the ARCA Menard Series race will be on Flow Racing and MRN. And then finally, on Sunday, we have the Cup Series. That'll start 3 p.m. Eastern Time for the running of the Hollywood Casino 400. That'll be on USA, Peacock, MRN, and Sirius XM. So, with Kansas all done, let's now have a look at Darlington results. And first started for the Xfinity Series, and that was won by Noah Gragson. In second place, very close of winning, was Sheldon Creed. Then AJ Allmendinger, Justin Allgaier, Kyle Larson, Ty Gibbs, Christopher Bell, Josh Berry, John Hunter Nemechek, and Austin Hill ran out of the top 10. And Sam Mayer, Landon Castle, Daniel Hemrick, Brennan Jones, Ross Chastain, Kyle Weatherman, Stephen Parsons, Ryan Sieg, Bailey Curry, and Mason Massey ran out of the top 20. One driver failed to qualify, that being Chad Fincham in the number 13 MBM Motorsports car. And some drivers went to the rear, that being a total of 6. So the first one is Christopher Bell. He went to the rear due to an engine change. And while Anthony Alfredo, Josh Williams, Kyle Sieg, Chris Wright, and Brandon Brown, they all went to the rear due to unapproved adjustments. So not a lot of stuff really happened, other than the final couple laps, which was really intense. Lap 45, Ty Gibbs, Noah Gragson wins stage 1. So he gets a playoff, once again another playoff point. Lap 50, Anthony Alfredo runs into the back of Jonathan Nemechek under caution, which is why you don't see Alfredo in the top 20. Nemechek, I don't think Nemechek really got a lot of damage, so he was fine. But it is worth to mention that Alfredo actually threw up when that happened. Well, actually, a couple seconds before it happened, so he didn't have enough time to actually hit the brake pedal, but he was pretty sick in the car. Lap 56, Chris Wright and Joe Graff Jr. gets together, and they both get into ball while collecting Maya Snyder. Lap 65, there was caution for rain, and then there was a red flag a couple laps later, which was only 2 minutes and 37 seconds. So it definitely looks like NASCAR wants to be a bit more cautious now on how they throw out because of what happened at Daytona. Lap 88, JJ Yaley is caught on fire. Lap 128, Brandon Jones spins out. And lap 147, after an amazing battle, Noah Gragson wins the Sports Clips Haircuts VFW Helper Hero 200, battling Larson and Sheldon Creed. Now I'm going to show a video of the last lap because it was amazing. It was one of the best laps I have ever seen in my life. Like, especially at the very end. That ending of the race was just so hectic, and like Larson, Creed, they were like side by side down in the backstretch. I don't know like where the video's up to, but if it's not up to that, I apologize. Like you know, they were like side by side down like the backstretch, like bang wheels. Actually, to the front stretch, actually bang wheels. Larson, well, actually Creed crowds Larson into the inside, almost spun out. But and then both of them were reporting a cut tire. Creed was just sending a NASCAR Heat 5 style around the outside. I was like, oh my god, this is why I love NASCAR. This is why I love NASCAR, because of these finishes. These finishes are just so memorable that it's probably gonna be talked about for a very, very long time. It was an amazing battle. It was hard battling. Larson, Creed, they were obviously like laughing or smiling after the race because they knew it was an amazing battle. I think Larson also congratulated Gregson at the very end. It was one of the best last laps I've ever seen in this year's Xfinity series. I mean, the Xfinity series this year they've been phenomenal, but this was just an icing on the cake of how amazing it was. But yeah, once again, an amazing last lap finish. I think Gregson definitely, I mean, he deserved the win, but Sheldon Creed, he was the quickest car. He was so quick in those last couple laps. I really thought Creed was finally going to win in the Xfinity Series and lock himself into the playoffs, knocking out Ryan Sieg. I still don't know what's happening with the playoffs thing because, I mean, if you don't know, actually after the race, Jeremy Clements, he was actually he got a L2 penalty, which I think meant his win was fine, so he kept the win, but I don't think it counted for the playoffs. I don't know, like I don't know if he's still in the playoffs or not, which I'm really confused about. But yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know if he's still in the playoffs or not. If he's not in the playoffs, which I read he's not in the playoffs anymore, that's kind of sad. But yeah, I mean, rules are rules, I guess. So, but I think the team did appeal. Like I can't speak. Appeal the decision. So we'll see how. Well, so yeah, we'll see how that works out. So look at the outside of the top 20 finishes. Speaking of Jeremy Clements, he's out in 21st place. Not a lot of stuff here. Dawson Cram, I think he made his second Xfinity Series start. It's Riley Herbst down in 34th. He had an accident. Other ones, there's Anthony Alfredo down in 37th place. In last place, Tommy John Martins, who retired on the 44th lap. There's Chad Fincham, who failed to qualify as well. So have a look at the Cup Series, and the Cup Series was probably more hectic. We'll say a lot more drama, a bit. So the result. So who won the Darlington Cup Series race? Well, it was a pretty big upset. Eric Jones gets his third career win. Yeah, and I was surprised when I saw that first when I opened up the NASCAR app that Eric Jones somehow won. Either way, in second place, Denny Hamlin, then Tyler Reddick, Joe Logano, Christopher Bell, Michael McDowell, Brad Keselowski, William Byron, Bubba Wallace, who's now switched over to the 45 car for bonus points. Alex Baldwin ran out of the top 10. Then Eric Almirola, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, Cole Custer, Ty Gibbs, who's now in the 23 car, I think, for the rest of the season. Austin Cindric, Austin Dillon, Daniel Suarez, Justin Haley, and Ross Chastain ran out of the top 20. No one failed to qualify. Two drivers went to the rear due to failed multiple inspections, that being BJ McLeod and Daniel Suarez. So first off, Larson pits for possible engine failure at lap 79. Obviously, he recovered to finish in 12th place. Lap 113, this is why you don't see Chase Elliott, because he actually spun out and collected another playoff contender, Chase Briscoe. So, no good time there for Elliott or Briscoe. Lap 115, William Byron wins stage 1, so he picks up a good playoff point. A bunch of spins from lap 179, lap 192, and lap 218. That being Todd Gilliland, Kyle Larson, and Cody Ware, respectively. Lap 230, Kyle Busch wins stage 2. Lap 276, Kevin Harvick's right front rocker panel catches on the fire. Now I'm going to show a video of this because it was one of the most spectacular fires that we've seen. The fires that we've seen this season, and the most scariest one. I mean, it just engulfed the whole car. Obviously he did stop in the front stretch. And I think it took NASCAR a very, very long time to throw out the caution as well, which is not a good idea. Pretty disrespectful. I mean, not really disrespectful, but they're not really doing their job, aren't they? I mean, I think Chris Buescher, what was it, in Indianapolis? I think I know something happened to Chris Buescher, which also caused a fire, and I think it was near the rocker panel as well. And I think NASCAR tried to cover it with another little piece of material to make sure that doesn't happen, but that didn't really work out, and Harvick has now catched on fire. Now, I don't really do this as often in these videos, but I'm actually going to show you the interview that Harvick had after the fire.
Kevin Harvick has made his way to the garage area. Man, that looked like a scary fire. Any idea what led to that, Kevin?
I'm sure it's just the crappy parts on the race car like we've seen so many times. We haven't fixed anything. It's kind of like the safety stuff. We just let it keep going, and the car started burning. And as it burned, you know, the flames started coming through the dash, and I ran a couple laps, and then, you know, as the flame got bigger, and then it started burning stuff up, and I think right there you see all the brake fluid that was probably coming out of the brakes. It burned the brake line, but the fire was coming through the dash. So
that's scary.
What a disaster, man. No reason. We didn't touch the wall, we didn't touch the car, and here we are in the pits with a burned up car and can't finish the race during the playoffs because of crappy ass parts.
So to clarify, it was not an engine issue originally. It was a rocker panel fire.
Because I just stopped. The rocker was on fire for a couple laps. I just stopped because, you know, I couldn't see anymore because the flames were coming through the dash, and I couldn't make myself sit in there and burn up.
Glad you're okay. Kevin Harvick is okay in the garage.
So yeah, obviously, he's not too happy. I also won't be happy as well if that happened. Lap 340, Cody Ware is stopped in turn 3. And actually, a couple laps later, on the caution, Kyle Busch's engine expires while leading. Which is why you also don't see Kyle Busch in the top 20. I mean, I think he and Truex were basically the best car of the day. Excuse me, of the day. I don't. That's just unlucky on me for Kyle Busch. And Truex, well, I think Truex was retired a couple laps later. I mean, I think there was also a graphic that came up as well, that apparently, I don't know how the hell Truex even missed the playoffs. Apparently, he had the most stage wins. He has the second best average finish behind Chase Elliott. How? I still understand how he missed the playoffs. That is so stupid. And then finally, lap 367, Eric Jones is able to hold up Denny Hamlin to win the Cook out Southern 500. The 43's win. First win since 2014 with Eric Almirola. So that is now 16 different winners if my math is correct. I'm pretty sure it's correct. Because obviously, Ryan Blaney couldn't. Oh no, never mind. It is 17. Never mind. It is 17. Never mind. I apologize. Yeah, because it was Jones and Kurt Busch. They're obviously outside of the playoffs. Kurt Busch, I mean, obviously. He was given a playoff waiver, but that didn't happen. Because obviously he's going to sit out, I think, for the rest of the season with that concussion, which I still don't know why NASCAR isn't doing anything about that, but it's NASCAR. What else do you expect? So look at the drivers outside of the top 20. Obviously, I'll mention those only the ones that has the little P next to their name. If I can even get this right, there we go. So Chase Briscoe in 27th, Kyle Busch in 30th, Kevin Harvick in 33rd, and Chase Elliott in 36th and last place. So he only gets 1 point with that, which obviously ruins his playoff standings. And let's have a look actually at the standings. Well, first, so let's now have a look at the Xfinity Series standings, and this is what it looks like. So I'm only going to show the playoffs, and yes, Jeremy Clements is now out of the playoffs after that penalty. So Ryan Sieg is basically back in now. So in first place, actually tied, I think, for first place is Ty Gibbs and Noah Gragson, both with 239 points. And AJ Allmendinger, Justin Allgaier, Josh Berry, Austin Hill, Brandon Jones, Sam Mayer, Riley Herbst, Daniel Hemrick, Ryan Sieg, and Landon Castle around top 12 in the playoffs. Currently, Sheldon Creed is 16 points below the cut line. Obviously, behind Sheldon Creed, Brandon Brown, Anthony Alfredo, Maya Stein, Jeb Burden, they are basically all in a must-win territory, including everyone else below them. Let's now have a look at the Cup Series standings and the playoffs as well. Joe Logano is now 6 points in front of William Byron, then Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, Ross Chastain, Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, Kyle Busch, and Daniel Suarez currently on the bubble. Then we got Austin Cindric, Austin Dillon, Chase Briscoe, and Kevin Harvick. All those 4 drivers are currently outside of the top 12, meaning if the playoff cutoff was at Darlington, those 4 drivers will be eliminated. So Cindric is basically 2 points behind Suarez, and then Dillon for the 4 points behind Suarez. So pretty close. I mean, it is definitely getting really close. But obviously, we'll see what happens in the next race at Kansas, because I think that might be a pretty good race for some of these drivers, and maybe even somehow another player, a non-playoff driver somehow wins. That's probably going to happen, considering 2022 this season for NASCAR. So that's really about it for Darlington. Obviously, just a reminder that the next race will be at Kansas for the Cup Series, Xfinity Series, and the Truck Series, but also the ARCA Menard Series as well. So that's really about it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed. Catch you guys all next time in the next one. Goodbye.